On September 8, 2025, the Supreme Court handed down a decision that sent shockwaves through every neighborhood in Los Angeles, from the bustling downtown to the quietest suburban streets. The city, known for its diversity and vibrant communities, suddenly found itself at the center of a national debate about rights, safety, and identity. This ruling wasn't just a matter of legal theory, it had immediate, real-world consequences. It changed the way federal immigration agents operate, giving them broader authority to stop and question people in public spaces, from busy transit stations to local parks and markets. The court's decision lifted a long-standing ban on aggressive, roving patrols. Now agents can stop individuals based on a wide range of factors, sometimes as vague as someone's appearance, the language they speak, or even the type of work they do. This shift has sparked intense concern across the city. For Los Angeles's diverse communities, especially its large Latino population, the ruling has reignited old fears. Many worry about being unfairly singled out, profiled, or harassed simply because of how they look or sound. The sense of uncertainty is palpable in neighborhoods where trust in law enforcement is already fragile. The debate is deeply personal. Families now find themselves having difficult conversations at the dinner table, wondering if their loved ones could be targeted for reasons beyond their control. Parents comfort anxious children, and neighbors look out for one another, hoping to protect their community from harm. Importantly, this decision doesn't just impact undocumented immigrants. Citizens, legal residents, and anyone who fits a certain profile could find themselves under scrutiny. The ripple effects touch people of all backgrounds, making the issue one that affects the entire city. As the legal battle continues, understanding the full impact of this ruling is crucial for everyone in Los Angeles. Community leaders, activists, and everyday residents are coming together to discuss what this means for their rights and their future. This story is about more than just law. It's about the people who call Los Angeles home, the bonds they share, and the resilience of a community determined to stand together in the face of uncertainty. The Supreme Court case that would soon grip the nation began quietly, on the streets of Los Angeles in June 2025. What started as a routine morning for many Angelenos quickly turned into a day that would change the course of American law and civil rights. That month, the Trump administration launched the largest mass deportation operation in U.S. history, deploying hundreds of federal agents across the city. The scale and speed of the operation stunned local officials and residents alike, as entire neighborhoods awoke to the sound of sirens and the sight of law enforcement vehicles blocking off streets. Federal agents swept through neighborhoods, construction sites, and day labor centers, stopping people based on appearance, language, and even the type of work they did. The sweeps were broad and aggressive, with agents questioning anyone who seemed to fit a certain profile, regardless of their actual immigration status. Latino men, including U.S. citizens and legal residents, were detained simply for fitting a profile. Many were handcuffed and questioned for hours, their legal documents ignored or dismissed in the chaos. The community was thrown into fear and confusion as the line between law enforcement and racial profiling blurred. Families hid in their homes, businesses closed early, and children were kept home from school, unsure if their loved ones would return. Civil rights groups and affected individuals quickly mobilized, filing lawsuits and demanding answers. They argued these sweeps violated the Fourth Amendment's protection against unreasonable searches and seizures, and that no one should be targeted simply for how they look or the language they speak. The lawsuit, Noem v. Perdomo, challenged the government's use of crude profiles, Latino appearance, Spanish language, certain jobs, to justify stops. Plaintiffs described a climate of fear and injustice, where constitutional rights seemed to vanish overnight. The case quickly became a national test of federal power and constitutional rights, drawing attention from legal scholars, activists, and politicians across the country. The stakes were clear. The outcome would define the limits of government authority in the name of security. The June sweeps set the stage for a legal showdown. Where does enforcement end and harassment begin? Protesters and supporters clashed outside courthouses, while families waited anxiously for answers. The answer would have consequences far beyond Los Angeles, shaping the future of civil liberties and immigration enforcement for generations to come. In July 2025, Judge Mamiusi Mensah Frimpong issued a temporary restraining order, halting aggressive immigration sweeps in LA and 7 counties. Her order barred agents from stopping people based solely on factors common in the Latino community: appearance, language, job, or location. Judge Frimpong found that such broad profiling likely violated the Fourth Amendment. The ruling brought relief to many, pausing the fear and uncertainty. The Trump administration immediately appealed, arguing the order crippled their ability to enforce immigration law. The Ninth Circuit upheld the judge's order, siding with civil rights groups, but the administration pushed the fight to the Supreme Court, determined to lift the restrictions. The legal battle was now at the nation's highest court. The stakes, whether constitutional protections would hold against sweeping federal enforcement. The city waited for the Supreme Court's answer. The Supreme Court, in a 6-3 decision, lifted the restraining order and restored agents broad discretion. Justice Kavanaugh's concurring opinion became the playbook. Agents can consider race, language, job, and location as part of reasonable suspicion. He argued that while ethnicity alone isn't enough, a combination of factors, like appearing Latino, speaking Spanish, and waiting near a day labor site, can justify a stop. This standard gives agents significant leeway, especially in diverse cities like LA. Kavanaugh insisted these tools are essential for effective enforcement. The ruling wasn't final, but it signaled the court's likely direction. For now, the very practices called unconstitutional by lower courts were back in force. The impact on LA's communities was immediate and profound. Justice Sotomayor, joined by Justices Kagan and Jackson, issued a powerful dissent. She warned the ruling gives agents a blank check to profile Latinos, citizens and non-citizens alike. Sotomayor argued that the majority's logic casts suspicion over millions of law-abiding people. She criticized the court for using its emergency shadow docket to decide such a major issue without full argument. Her dissent reframed the case as a civil rights crisis, not just an immigration dispute. While her words didn't change the outcome, they became a rallying cry for advocates. The fight, she insisted, was far from over. Behind the legal arguments and headlines are real people, families, workers, and neighbors, whose lives have been upended in ways that rarely make the news. Every policy decision, every enforcement action ripples outward, touching countless lives in deeply personal ways. Jorge Hernandez Viramontes and Jason Brian Gavidia, both U.S. citizens, were detained during the sweeps simply for fitting a profile. Their experiences highlight how easily anyone can become a target, regardless of their legal status, when suspicion is based on appearance rather than evidence. Their stories, being stopped, questioned, and humiliated, are echoed by many others across the city. People describe the shame and fear of being singled out in public and the lasting impact it has on their sense of safety and belonging. For undocumented workers like Carlos, every day is now filled with anxiety and fear of being targeted. Even simple acts, going to work, shopping for groceries, or taking children to school, are shadowed by the possibility of being stopped or questioned. The climate of fear extends to families and businesses, disrupting daily life and livelihoods. Parents worry about their children's safety, and workers fear losing their jobs if they are caught up in a sweep. Legal residents worry about speaking Spanish in public. Many now hesitate to use their native language, afraid it might draw unwanted attention or suspicion. Business owners fear raids could destroy their companies. Some have seen customers disappear and employees leave, all because of the uncertainty and stress these policies create. The Supreme Court's decision has amplified these anxieties, making ordinary routines feel risky. What was once mundane, catching a bus, walking to work, now feels fraught with danger for many. The human cost is measured in lost wages, broken trust, and constant stress. Communities are left grappling with uncertainty, and the bonds that hold neighborhoods together are strained. For many, the fear isn't just of detention, it's of being treated as a suspect in their own home, of losing the sense of security that everyone deserves. The policy's impact is felt in every corner of the city, shaping daily life and leaving a mark on the collective spirit of its people. The debate in LA is about more than immigration. It's about the balance between security and civil rights. The administration argues that broad discretion is necessary to enforce the law in a city with a large immigrant population. They say agents need to use context, language, job, location, to do their jobs effectively. Civil rights groups counter that this is racial profiling, plain and simple. They warn that bundling common traits creates a Latino exception to the Constitution. The Supreme Court's decision, they argue, authorizes a dragnet that puts millions at risk. True security, they say, comes from trust, not fear, between communities and law enforcement. The two sides offer starkly different visions of justice in a diverse America. The Supreme Court's ruling isn't the end. The underlying lawsuit, Noam v. Perdomo, continues in the lower courts. Civil rights lawyers will seek a new injunction, presenting fresh evidence of profiling and harm. But now, they face the precedent set by Justice Kavanaugh's opinion. Any new order will likely be appealed, possibly returning to the Supreme Court. The legal process will take months, if not years, to resolve. Meanwhile, agents operate under the court's guidance, and communities brace for more stops. Advocacy groups are educating residents about their rights and urging them to document encounters. The legal fight in court runs parallel to the daily reality on LA's streets. The outcome will shape the city's future and possibly the nation's. This case isn't just about Los Angeles, it's about the kind of country we want to be. The ruling affects the city's economy, public safety, and the trust that binds communities. When people fear law enforcement, everyone is less safe. The debate over roving patrols is a test of America's commitment to equal protection and civil rights. As the legal battle continues, all eyes are on LA. Will agents use their power responsibly, or will old patterns of profiling return? The stories of workers, families, and citizens are the true measure of this policy's impact. This is not just an immigration issue, it's an American issue. How we balance security and liberty will define us for years to come. For now, Los Angeles remains a city on watch, waiting to see how justice will tip the scales.